Let's preview the Week 8 game against the Bucs. Monday night game. It's going to be at MetLife. Giants lead the all-time series 16-7. The last 5 matchups have been a doozy, or at least 4 of the 5 have been. Of course, the last game was in September of last year when I was at the bachelor party in the Florida area, and I lost my shit at the Tiki Bar when Tampa missed the field goal and gave the Giants their first win. It was Danny Dimes' first start. We won 32-31, and I thought it was the beginning of something special, and I still think it is. The previous game was in November 2018. We won by 3. We went up huge on Tampa. I think Fitzpatrick was the quarterback. They removed him and put in Jameis Winston, and he leads them on a ridiculous comeback that gave me the palpitations. And then the previous year, October 2017, this was before like all the injuries against the Chargers. We had an opportunity to win it. OBJ was not out of bounds. So it was 25-23 was the final score. We lost by 2, but I think it was the 2-point conversion that I'm thinking about where referees said that OBJ was out of bounds on the catch, the 2-point conversion when he was not. So another bullshit call that is not going in our favor. We smoked the Bucs in 2015, 32-18. And then in 2012 was the come from behind win, 41-34. I was at Green Rock. Size Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style was the top hit on the record charts. Eli hit Cruz, and I ended up standing up on the bench and doing the Gangnam Style dance and quickly being told to not do that by the bouncer. I was 31. Holy shit. The Bucs have signed Antonio Brown. I don't know if he's going to suit up Monday night, but I hope he doesn't. Giants are 1-2 at home so far this season. The Bucs are also 1-2 away. I guess we got that going for us. They're not a great road team, but they have scored the 8th most points per game. They've also allowed the 8th fewest points per game. They're +4 in the takeaway differential, which is 6th. They are 6th in defensive passing yards per game, and they're 1st in defensive rushing yards per game. We are tied for the 2nd most turnovers, and we're like pretty much bottom of the barrel for points scored per game, passing yards per game, rushing yards per game. But we don't allow a lot of rushing yards per game, which is great. We're 8th. The Bucs offense. So I think the strength, as you'll see, if you could take a look at this computer screen I'm looking at, holy moly. The Bucs offense is not the strength of this team, even though they have some pretty good weapons and they have the greatest quarterback of all time. The Bucs offense has the 3rd lowest sack percentage. They've only allowed 8 sacks through 6 games, and they have the 4th, but they do have the 4th most penalized unit. So maybe they'll shoot themselves in the foot, and we don't have to depend on our defense to make a stop. Maybe. And they're also 4th in red zone percentage, which is going to be interesting because if they get into the red zone, we're actually not that bad in the red zone on defense. What is going to be hard to watch is when we're on offense and the Bucs are on defense, because the Bucs, I mean, this is a laundry list of accomplishments and achievements so far for the Bucs defense. Most expected points contributed, 7th in turnover percentage, 4th best scoring percentage, 7th fewest rushing yards per attempt, 2nd lowest net passing yards per attempt, 2nd in takeaways, fewest yards per plays, 5th fewest mixed tackles, 4th highest pressure percentage, tied for 2nd in sacks, 2nd highest sack percentage, 8th in knockdown percentage, 10th in hurry percentage, 5th lowest QB rating, 3rd highest blitz percentage, tied for 5th in interception percentage, 4th lowest touchdown percentage, least rushing yards per game, fewest points per drive, lowest time per drive, fewest yards per drive, 2nd fewest plays per drive. I mean, get ready for a shit ton of 3-and-outs from the Giants offense. The Giants offense, yeah, it's not looking great, but we're 3rd lowest yards per pass attempt. We have the highest rushing yards per attempt. We have a higher rushing yards per attempt than Tampa Bay's offense, but that's mostly due to Daniel Jones scrambling. We have the 2nd worst red zone percentage, the 8th worst scoring percentage. We do have a better 3rd down percentage than Tampa, which is saying something. But we have the 2nd worst points per drive. We're 10th in time per drive, but we're 6th worst yards per drive, and we have the 4th worst turnover percentage. So Giants defense has the 5th worst scoring percentage. We're tied for the 4th in fumbles forced and recovered, fifth fewest rushing yards per attempt, tied for fourth in takeaways, fourth most sacks, eighth fewest rushing yards per game, eighth best red zone percentage, and ninth most points per drive, most time per drive, most plays per drive. So the way I see this playing out is kind of similar to what happened with the Bucs last game against the Raiders, where it was, I think it was like 24-21, maybe 27-24 at one point in the second half. And then the Bucs just took off. Their offense took off and they ended up winning 41-24. I think you're going to see a similar output for the Bucs offense. 41 points seems about reasonable. It's just I don't see the Giants offense scoring 20 some odd points on the Bucs defense. I think you're looking at a similar final outcome to the Niners game. Something that's going to be like we get 9 points and then the other team gets like 30 plus, 40 plus points. It's not going to be pretty. I think the spread was like 10.5, maybe it moved to 11.5. Either way, I do not see, even though against the spread we're 4-3, I do not see us covering the spread. It would be a major victory though if we did. If we lose by less than 10 points or less, I would consider that. I know most fans are like fucking dry heave at the thought of using the term moral victory yet again, because it's like, how many moral victories can you have before it's like you get a trophy? But I think that would be a good sign. I think if you put up a good fight, I'll put it this way. If this ends up being, maybe the Eagles game is a wake-up call, and it's like, guys, that was a win. We let slip through our hands. We can't let it happen again. And they come out and they put on a performance like they did in the season finale of 2007 against the Patriots, where they gave them a good run for their money and ultimately lost by 38-35, something like that. If they come out and put out that kind of performance, then it's like, all right, let's fucking go. Even if they lose, like the Steelers game, losing by 10, it doesn't look great on paper, but if you watch the game, they were in it and it was just like the Jones red zone interception really killed us. But if they come out and they lay an egg and it's like 41-9, I feel like you gotta go into sell mode. And just like, it'll be interesting. I don't have good vibes about this game, knowing the kind of performances we put up, games that we should have won but didn't. The Cowboys game, the Eagles game, like those two games alone, even the 49ers game, like knowing that we were facing backups and we still couldn't come away with the victory. We're facing backups in Dallas and can't come away with the victory. We're facing backups in Philly and can't come away with the victory. And now we're facing like a full on 100% ready to go Tampa Bay team that is threatening to win the South. Looks like everything is starting to click with Gronk, Evans. It's just, but like someone said it on Twitter that it's like, this figures to be like a win for the Giants. It just seems like that's how the Giants end up playing, when it's like, when you've completely discounted them and have already chalked up the L, they'll come out and put on the game of their lives and win the game. They did it in, 2017 against the Chiefs. They have one of those in them every year. And I think maybe this is it, because it's like if Brady was hurt and we were facing all these backups, it would be a loss. But because like we're going against a fully stocked, like fully operational Bucs team, like that will be the game that we win. Of course, whatever.